Kanda. Viradha has been killed, and they need to continue because as he took in took his or got his celestial form of Tumburu back, he recommended that Sitaram and Lakshmana follow towards the hermitage of sage Sarabhanga. So as soon as Viradha, that body is buried, Viradha's the Tumburu body leaves back to his realms of Gandharva Loka. Sri Ramachandra gives Sita Devi a very tight embrace, Parishad Swaje, to remove from her any sense of fear or a sorrow that she was separated from Ramachandra, or a shame that somebody like Viradha could pick her up and put her on his shoulder. Just the violence of the whole act. So Ramachandra's embrace was very calming and reassuring. And Sri Ramachandra said to Lakshmana, this is not a place for us. We've been in the forest, we're not experienced forest dwellers. So let's quickly go towards Sarabhanga's ashram. So, depending on the directions as they traversed, they arrived to the ashram of Sarabhanga. Now, before we appreciate what's going to happen there, we know in the previous time the reason, and again this will be expressed very, very explicitly by Ramachandra, that Ramachandra has come into the forest for perfecting the prayers, austerities, meditation, the bhakti for all these sages for thousands of years who've been waiting for him. And he is giving them an opportunity to take Ramachandra's, actually all three of them, their shelter, because we need Guru and the divine couple. So all three of them are there. All three of them, or two categories of personalities, are there. And they've been waiting. Now, one of the ways of reciprocating by the Lord is when he removes the obstacles that are on the path of any aspirant. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. So, yoga literally means to bring what love someone lacks, to connect, to achieve is called yoga. Now, to achieve something, something else can be removed from the path. So that's also technically yoga. Therefore, in yoga process, there are always two categories of things we should do and things we should avoid. Or even in Sharanagati, Anukulyasya Sankalpa, one should take on activities that are favorable, and Pratikulyasya Varjanam, one should give up activities that are unfavorable. So one of the ways in which the Lord Sri Ramachandra tries to perfect the meditation of the sages is by removing or reciprocating by removing their obstacles. So removing Viradha, who was tormenting the sages, was one such method. There are more. He's going to now prepare to remove other demons from Dandaka forest. Viradha is gone. Another one will come up, Kabandha. Kabandha has been cursed, so he will be eliminated. And that also, before Kabandha, then there's the whole Khara, Dhushana, Trishiras, there's a whole set of people. 14,000 demons. And this is the way he is reciprocating for the thousands of years of careful development of their bhakti while dealing with those difficulties. When Ramachandra has seen that they've sufficiently expressed their determination even despite the difficulties, and the difficulties were not a chance to cop out or give up something because something's difficult, then the Lord reciprocates by removing that difficulty. Sometimes we wonder, why did Lord Narasimhadev wait for Prahlad Maharaj to get so much difficulty? Why not act immediately? Why not the Pandavas also? Why not act immediately? Why go through so much time, so much difficulty before the Lord? First, the Lord wants to show that his devotees take on their difficulties also as a way of turning it around and improving or growing in their bhakti or evolving in their bhakti. And they also shows that just because we don't like difficulties, they won't go away. For one who continues in on one's path of connecting with the Supreme Lord, even despite difficulties, whatever those difficulties are, the difficulty does not change their determination or affect their determination to stay on the path of my goal is to realize the presence of the Lord in my life, in my heart, in my environment. Then they become eligible for moksha or eligible for transcending that difficulty. So this is what Sita, Ram, Lakshman in the forest are doing. They're rewarding all these sages, thousands and thousands and thousands of them, for the years and years and years of steadfast devotional service that they have performed and patiently waiting. So when they arrive at the ashram of Sarabhanga, they notice that Sarabhanga was effulgent like a demigod, self-realized. Whole environment was brilliant. The word Sarabhanga means one who has broken his attachment to the body. Bhanga means to break, and Shara is the body. Sarabhanga. That means he's not at all attached to the false ego of I am this body. It's called Dehatma Buddhi. Deha Atma Buddhi. Thinking my body is myself. So Sarabhanga, he got that name because he's not identifying himself with the body. Now, what from a distance, Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman, Hanuman's not there. Sitaram, Lakshman saw this Sarabhanga, effulgent as a demigod, and there was a chariot with yellow horses. Sometimes Harita is also expressed as green, sometimes as yellow, but depending on the day, it has both meanings. Haridra is yellow, Harita sometimes is green. So Indra's chariot has particular horses of a certain color. And by that you recognize, oh, that is Indra's chariot. So greenish color horses or yellow color horses. Different translations give the meaning of the word Harita as yellow or green. So I will confirm to you sometime this week. And generally, a demigod is recognized by certain characteristics. One is that their feet don't touch the ground. Second, that their eyes don't blink. So that is how you recognize. And many people have a difficulty understanding the Supreme Lord because he's walking on the ground. His feet has touched the ground and he's blinking. So they think he's a human being. So they from afar, they noticed that Indra was there. So the three of them stopped in their tracks and were observing. So it seemed like Indra's chariot, Indra's chariot driver, and a host of other demigods who were always accompanying Indra. Two great apsaras with chamara fans were whisking Indra. There was whisking the fans for Indra. There was a white umbrella someone else was holding above Indra's head. And there were so many attendants that were singing and playing instruments, glorifying Indra. We should never think Indra comes alone. Okay, it's only in certain very special covert operations that he comes alone. But when he comes to visit certain sages, he always comes with a retinue. That's the greatness of a person, that they have followers. So they noticed that Indra came and had some conversation with sage Sarabhanga, and and we are given insight by Valmiki into what that conversation is. So Indra has come to ask sage Sarabhanga, I'm here to receive you and take you to Brahmaloka, Lord Brahma's planet, because you've succeeded in your tapasya. And sage Sarabhanga tells Indra, thanks, but no thanks. I'm not ready yet to go. I'm not interested in staying in the material world, but very soon Sri Ramachandra will come here and I will get his darshan. And if his darshan stacks above my importance of going to Brahmaloka, I would I would want to take the association of Sita, Ram, and Lakshmana. So Indra recognizes that Ramachandra is there in the vicinity. So he tells Sage Sarabhanga, quickly offers his obeisances, his respects, and says, I understand. I would also love to meet Ramachandra, but this is not the right time. When the right time comes, I will come back and be in Ramachandra's association. And quickly ascends his chariot with all of his followers, goes back. So when Ramachandra, Lakshmana, and Sita come to Sage Sarabhanga's ashram, he very amazingly receives them. And um, and he says, "Oh, I have been waiting for you, and I'm so pleased to have the opportunity of seeing you in person." And he says, "My dear Ramachandra, I have been gifted the residence in Brahmaloka." And Indra personally came to take me to Satyaloka. So pretty much any planet that I wish I can go to, including Lord Brahma's planet. So I want to offer it to you. Please accept it. Because Sharabhanga knew by his realization that this Ramachandra is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Ramachandra waited and listened. And Sharabhanga said that I also don't want to go in this body to Brahmaloka. I would rather have a body that is suitable to be in Brahmaloka. But more important was to receive Sita, Ram, and Lakshmana. So then Ramachandra said, well, thank you. Thank you for offering us the gifts of Satyaloka and any other planet. But actually, a Kshatriya cannot take charity. So Kshatriyas cannot take charity. So I appreciate your gesture, but I'm unable to take your charity. And the charity is, although we're talking Satyaloka, it's the gift of his austerity. So according to Govindaraja, Ramachandra is saying, oh, holy sage Sharabhanga, I'm playing the role of a Kshatriya and I cannot accept charity. I cannot accept what you're offering me. So in return, if you would like to offer me something, you please tell me where I can stay with a little peace and quiet. Because we don't have a place to stay. So for many, many years, Ramachandra, Lakshmana, and Sita Devi lived in Dandaka without a residence. They would go from one place to another, stay for a few days, move to another place, stay for a few days, move to another place. Until they came to Panchavati, where it seemed like they will settle down after almost 10, 12 years. So then sage Sarabhanga said, all right, Ramachandra, if you cannot accept it, here's what I can offer you in service. If you go down this path, in this forest resides a great personality called Sutikshana. The word Tikshana means intense, and Sutikshana means very intense. So he used to perform very intense austerities. So he got the name Sutikshana. He said he can help you. You can go there, and if you follow upstream from the Mandakini river, you will find sage Sutikshana's hermitage. And he says, Ramachandra, now please turn your gaze in my direction. And as you're gazing at me, I want to give up this body. And he describes just the way a snake gives up his skin or her skin. The snake, what it does is when its skin gets very old, it leaves behind the skin and slithers out with a new uh, skin that he develops. And so that example is given for very great personalities who are not attached to or identifying with the body. And so they leave behind the body as if the snake leaves behind its skin. So the skin is just like a cloth for animals, right? We have clothes, but animals have skin that they use as cloth. So giving up one dress with taking on a new dress, right? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes Vasamsi Jirnani Yatha Vihaya. Moving from one body to another, the phenomena is as natural as changing one's clothes. And the clothing that the subtle body changes is gives up this gross body of earth, water, fire, air, ether, and takes on another gross body of earth, water, fire, air, ether. Looks different, maybe formed differently, but it's another body. It's like another clothing. So he was very easily, happily willing to give up. Now the question is, one may wonder why Sarabhanga did not tell Ramachandra, I'm leaving this ashram and going away. You can stay here. Because when Sarabhanga would leave, his entire forest would, his entire ashram would become abandoned. And he did not want Ramachandra, Sita, and Lakshmana just to be living by themselves without benefiting other sages. So the nature of selfless persons is that when I receive the mercy of the Supreme Lord and His consort, it's not that I keep to myself. I have to share that with others. You share the fortune that Krishna bestows upon us. And the selfish personality, selfish attitude is just be here with me and no one else can get. Because when someone else gets what I have, then the value of what I have becomes diminished. That's a very selfish or envious mentality. So envy thrives on exclusivity, that I'm the only one who has it. And service thrives on inclusivity, that everyone else should also get Mahaprasad. So you see great sages, great personalities, they will distribute the prasadam of the Lord in different forms to different personalities. Whether it's in the form of food, it's in the form of opportunities, service, teachings, their realizations. Everything is shared. Or it is shared with others. So Sarabhanga sent or requested Ramachandra to go visit Sutikshana. So then the three of them traveled and came to meet Sutikshana. Now, before that, we find that Sarabhanga very nicely lit a fire, and according to scriptural regulations, entered that fire, and it immediately reduced his hair, skin, bones, flesh, marrow, everything down like it does. and then nice, youthful, radiant body went up to broad. Actually, went back to Vaikuntha Loka. So the word Brahma Loka is used in two references. Before meeting Ramachandra, the Brahmaloka that's being referred to is Satyaloka, Lord Brahma's planet. And after meeting Ramachandra and he giving up his body, Sarabhanga, then as he ascends to Brahmaloka, that Brahmaloka means the spiritual world, because the word Brahma means spiritual. So Brahmaloka means the spiritual world. And Sarabhanga then went, as you say, back to Godhead by leaving Godhead right there. So before they travel towards Sutikshna's ashram, immediately we find that all the different great sages who were there all come bearing folded palms, requesting Ramachandra for his shelter. Thousands and thousands of sages, like it happened previously. And Ramachandra tells them, I have entered the forest for two reasons. One, to make my father's promise come true. And second, specifically for all of you. I have come here for protecting and serving all of you. Now, this verse is, or this conversation is usually referred to for identifying that Ramachandra, although in a human form, is the Supreme Personality. Anywhere else, it's very, very intentionally detracted. Valmiki never directly says this is the Supreme Personality, except in the beginning when the uh, Ashwamedha Yajna happens and then Putra Kameshti is happening. And that is the time when Lord Vishnu says, I will appear as four features and all of you should also come with yourselves expanded as your sons and in the race of monkeys or apes and bears. That's a reference before Ramachandra's advent. But throughout the works, until after Yuddhakanda or near the end of Yuddhakanda, we get to hear Ramachandra being glorified as the Supreme Lord by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and others. Until then, Valmiki only makes us understand that Lord Ramachandra is a human being. And only when he's a human being can he face off with Ravana. If his nature is as a personality other than a human being, then fighting Ravana will not be possible because of the blessing of Lord Brahma. Okay. So these personalities, they were all waiting to go back to Godhead, one after the other, by Ramachandra's grace. And they have expressed that there is no other refuge for them other than Sri Ramachandra. So after accepting the Sharanagati of all these thousands and thousands of sages, while they are approaching Sutikshnas again, some of the words the sages use for Ramachandra is Mahatma, Dharmagya, Dharmavatsala. This is a way to evoke in the Lord the feature of mercy by which he will hear their prayers and take them back. That their meditation, the thousands of years of their devotional service in that form is now ripened and accepted by the Lord. So then they come to, I'm scrolling here, to where they come to Sutikshna's. So before we go to Sutikshna, I'm going to shift and talk about Sharanagati in Ramayana, which we spoke about a couple of weeks back. So every Kanda of Ramayana has some event of Sharanagati. In Balakanda, the demigods being harassed by Ravana, they pray to Lord Vishnu for protection. That's the first Sharanagati. In Ayodhya Kanda, Lakshmana held Ramachandra's lotus feet tightly and offered prayers to Sita Devi for being accepted by Ramachandra to go to the forest with them. In Aranya Kanda, of course, all the thousands and thousands of sages are performing Sharanagati. Then in Kishkindha Kanda, Sugriva takes shelter of Ramachandra for killing Vali and freeing himself and his associates from the fear of Vali. In Sundarakanda, Sita advises Ravana to take shelter of Ramachandra. And the other event is Hanuman taking shelter of Sita and Ramachandra to perform this Herculean task of flying and then returning without being hurt by the fire that Ravana and his associates put on Hanuman's tail. And then in Yuddha Kanda, of course, Ramachandra surrenders to Varuna, which is unsuccessful because Varuna gets scared and then he takes shelter of Ramachandra. And then the Vibhishana taking shelter of Ramachandra as well. Okay. So then, now that they are in Sutikshna's ashram, as they have come up the Mandakini river, they find a hermitage that is decorated with this jute cloth, tree bark hanging from the tree branches, and trees and shrubs with varieties of fragrant flowers. And then there are these garlands that are hanging from these branches. So Ramachandra, with his folded palms, offered his respect to sage Sutikshana, who was sitting in complete trance of meditation. His body was smeared with the dirt from the ashram and his hair matted up. And he says, "Oh, great sage Sutikshana, my name is Rama and I have come to see you. You are a very amazing and evolved personality, so kindly bless me." So one may ask, is says Sutikshna not taking a bath? So sometimes when these sages would sit in meditation, they would not move from their position for days and days and days and days. But for being clean, every day we take bath with water. So it's called Jalasnana. And that we say Gange cha Yamune cheva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jale Asmin Sannidhin Kuru. Technically, when we are taking bath and when we are sipping water for purification, Jalasnana. Then there is what is called Mantra Snana. So with Jalasnana, the gross body and some part of the subtle body is purified. Bathing in a river, bathing in the ocean, both subtle body and gross body are both purified. With Mantra Snana, when one cannot do Jalasnana or one is beyond the point of Jalasnana, then it is Mantra Snana. And by that, not only the gross body is considered pure, but subtle body and Atma Shuddhi, the soul also becomes purified of the clutch of the Supreme Lord's Maya. Therefore, we say Apavitra Pavitrova Sarvavasthangato Piva Yat Smaret Pundarika Aksham Sa Bahya Abhi Antara Suchihi. I've heard many versions of this mantra, but that is the essence of this. That whatever condition one is in, by remembering the lotus-eyed Supreme Lord, Pundarikaksha, Sabahya abhi antara. Bahyabhya antara. Outside and inside. Shuchi. One becomes pure. So we say Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. And remember the different names of the Lord while sipping water. Keshavaya Namaha, Narayana Namaha, Madhavaya Namaha, Govinda, Vamana, Pradyumna, Niruddha, etc. So then Sage Sutikshna opened his eyes and embraced Ramachandra and told him, Welcome, welcome. You are the one who is the residence of truthfulness. And by your arrival, my entire ashram has now a master because we are all servants. And my dear Lord, you are the master. So by your arrival, this belongs to you. Uh, so then he says, I have not given up this body because I'm also waiting for you. And Lord Indra also came here and he told me that you have lost your kingdom and then you were residing here in Chitrakuta. So I understand. So I've been waiting. Indra has informed all of me also. So somehow I've been pushing on, waiting to see your wonderful form in front of me. And then he says, um, you can choose whatever you want, Ramachandra. However you would like me to serve you, please let me know. He says, "Oh sage, I can receive anything in this world on my own, by my own austerity. Uh, I could reside here, I could reside there. Even Sarabhanga offered me a place to stay, but I did not take that. All I want to know from you is where I could stay." So Sutikshna said, "Oh Ramachandra, this hermitage is visited by many, many sages. Okay, and this place is supplied enough roots and fruits, and you can be very comfortable here. You can stay here. But there is one drawback, there's one problem that here many Rakshasas they take on forms of different animals. Okay, and they take on very different, curious, and scary sometimes forms, and they come to disturb the meditation of the sages. So here is a little clue Sutikshna is giving Ramachandra that very soon Maricha will come in the form of a golden deer. But he doesn't say it like that, he just gives hints. So then Ramachandra said, "Oh, is that so? I am carrying these weapons, and I will make sure that such Rakshasas, whether they're in this form or that form, I will be able to find out and kill them." Then he said, "Anyway, what I think is instead of killing them here in your ashram and making the ashram impure, I will go elsewhere and deal with these Rakshasas." So Sutikshna said, "Sure, um, I understand." And Ramachandra then continues to move on. So they stay for the night in Sutikshna's ashrama. Early morning, all three of them wake up. They prepare for their own fire again, their daily uh, sadhana or their practices. And then Sutikshna, looking at Ramachandra, Lakshmana, and Sita Devi, he says, "I hope you stayed comfortably here last night. Now, please give us permission to leave." Uh, they all want to move on. So we wish to leave you from here. So then Ramachandra, Lakshmana, and Sita Devi bowed down to sage Sutikshna. Uh, and then Sutikshna said, "Ramachandra, please continue your journey safely, accompanied by Lakshmana. and Sita Devi, who's following you like a shadow. Um, and then he says, as you go down through Dandaka forest, on your return, please come back to this place and continue from here on back to Ayodhya through this place. Then they circumambulated sage Sutikshana and offered their prayers and obeisances to him. Then Sita Devi, who every day would offer worship to the weapons that Ramachandra and Lakshmana would carry, that was her service. She carries those weapons and gives them to Ramachandra and Lakshmana. The expression here by the commentators is that Sita Devi is now um, participating in or unfolding or being the cause in unfolding the rest of the pastimes to come from here. So our philosophy, same as Sri Vaishnavas, is that we are followers of the Lord's consort, the Hladini potency. And all of our aspirations to approach Krishna are through his internal potency. Radharani, Sita Devi, Lakshmi Devi, depending on the particular form or feature that we are attracted to. Even Lakshmana, although was holding Ramachandra's feet, his prayer was to Sita Devi. Because it is that internal potency that recommends the living entity to the Supreme Lord. It is through the Hladini potency. Therefore, we chant Hare Krishna, not only Krishna's names, but Hare Krishna. We call out to Radharani, Oh Hara Devi, Hare, please engage us in the service of Lord Shri Krishna. So, when Bharata was returning to Ayodhya, Ramachandra stepped into his sandals or shoes and then stepped out and gave the shoes to Bharata, who carried them on his head. So Bharata is being empowered by Ramachandra's sandals, which is also, remember we did Paduka Devi. So she is the consort of the Lord of the Shakti by which Bharata is being taken care of. Now for Ramachandra to fight Kharadushana Trishiras and later Ravana and the whole set of thousands and million, 100 million Rakshasas in Lanka, Sita Devi holding the weapons and giving them to Ramachandra and Lakshmana is the indication that let the purpose for which you have appeared in this world, Ramachandra, Lakshmana, may that be carried out and may that become successful. So the entire Ramayana is now waiting to take a new turn. While she's offering these weapons to Ramachandra, she has a certain concern that she expresses. And she expresses that Ramachandra, for any person, there are three pathways to falling down from a divine path, to become degraded. And the first reason or a first method by which one becomes completely degraded is by giving up truthfulness. So for a person who violates truthfulness or honesty, honesty is one aspect of truthfulness, such a person becomes degraded. And she says, I don't have that concern about you at all, because you have amply demonstrated that you are Satya Parakrama. The word Satya Parakrama, Akrama means to attack. We've seen in period movies of Mahabharata, Ramayana, they say Akraman, means attack. So Parakrama, Para Akrama That means you attack or win over others through Satya. Your weapon is your truthfulness. And you disarm everyone by your truthfulness. And it is amply demonstrated. So that's the first one. I'm not worried about it. The second one is coveting somebody else's wife. That is a very heinous thing. And in your case, I don't have that concern either. You have never uh, looked at another woman, forget about looking lustily or in some other way. You just not have. That's not in your character. But that's a way by which a person gets degraded, aspiring uh, to think of another woman outside of your own marriage. And she says the third one is power. And that is where I'm a little concerned, not about you, but power comes from the sense of their position or the something powerful that they're holding with them, like weapons. When a person holds a deadly weapon, they have this sense of power by which they become degraded and then can do things that are very harmful. And I just heard you say to Sage Sarabhanga and Sutikshana and all the other sages that you will decimate all the Rakshasas in this forest. Now, what is your reason to decimate the Rakshasas when they haven't done anything to you? Uh, Technically, you can fight with somebody with a weapon if they have attacked you. Um, so, what is your reason? The demons don't have any personal issue with you. And this is a common thing where people say, "Oh, such and such person may be a bad person, but they've not done anything bad to me." But there is a principle. So Ramachandra has to respond, and Sita Devi, while speaking this, narrates a story to make her case that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts even absolutely. And the sense of power comes from a position of authority. So anyone who has any position of authority technically can fall or become corrupt to this principle that Sita Devi is speaking. For example, when a manager exerts their power over their employees or subordinates, when a parent exerts their power over their children, uh, sometimes a teacher may exert un or disproportionately their power over their students, etc. Whenever a position of authority exerts their power on their followers or they subordinate to them. And so she's saying, um, so here's what happened. Sita Devi says that there was a sage. Let me pull up this one. Yeah. So there was this sage who was very, very evolved and austere. And whenever sages are evolving, the demigods, they present challenges to the sages. Now, the reason they do is to confirm that these personalities have actually transcended the base qualities. So some sages will become angry and curse someone and lose their merit and try all over again. So the demigod's role is to come and test these great personalities. So if, for example, when King Shibi's glory spread towards heaven, then Indra and Agni came as an eagle and a pigeon to test King Shibi's generosity or charitable nature. And forever If they succeed, they forever they go into the annals of history that King Kshibi is the greatest charitable person. Or when King Rantidev, after so much austerity and fasting for more than a year, was sat down to eat, then one by one, Lord Brahma, other demigods came and they took away in the form of Brahmanas. All the food that he was going to eat, he gave away. So Indra takes the form of a king or a warrior and comes to this sage and he says, Sage, I'm passing through this forest. I will come back to you while I'm traveling. Can I leave my sword in your ashram? And I'll come back and take it. And the sage said, hey, I have nothing to do with weapons. I'm always sitting down, meditating. You can keep it in that corner. So this sword was made of the most exquisite steel, and its handle was made with gold, studded with diamonds and rubies and emeralds, and was shining so much that it would light up an entire room. And the sheath in which it was protected was also gilded, made with gold and gems and shining like anything. So when it was kept in the corner, the sage went into his meditation and was not disturbed by it for many days. But because it's been sitting there, it has a certain power to it that the sage slowly becomes drawn to. And he says, "Oh, let me see how the sword feels to look at." A few days later, he says, "Oh, I'm not going to use it. I just want to see how it feels to touch it." And later, he convinces himself, "Well, I'm not using uh, the sword. I'm just holding it like this next to my hip to see how it feels." Then slowly it degrades into, "Let me see how it feels when I take it out of its sheath." And as this thing get corrupted, then he starts using it and becomes indiscriminate and starts actually hurting animals and other sages with it, and very quickly becomes completely degraded to such a degree that he becomes like a rakshasa, almost demoniac. So Sita Devi says that when you have made such a promise, I am concerned that your massive charge of killing these demons. Uh, I hope that you will be able to practice self restraint, because self restraint is not achieved easily. It's very, very difficult. So please make sure that you have this self restraint. So Ramachandra appreciated Sita Devi's forewarning or concern, and he said, "Okay, Sita Devi, here's what I'm going to commit to you." He says very, very clearly that I have committed to protect the sages. So if I've committed to protect the sages, it means against anything. So if the demons come to attack the sages, then I have to protect, because that is what I have promised. Um, and he says that the sages, they have given up any form of protecting themselves, although they can, but they've given it up, right? So they're hoping and looking forward for me to protect them. And that's what I'm going to do, because that's the duty of a king. King has the danda in his hand, the rod of punishment, to relieve all the subjects from fear, sorrow, danger, all of that. So I made that promise. So I have to stick to those promises that I have made. Then he says, um, I mean, there are many things that Lord Ramachandra says, but to me, he says, Sita, you are more dear to me than my own very life. And so, whatever your concerns are there, please understand that I will forever respect that. And so Sita Devi was pacified, and from here they are progressing now further into the Dandaka forest. Next week we'll talk about Lakshmana and the way he would serve Ramachandra. So some highlights of Lakshmana's service to Ramachandra. That's for next week. Let's see if you have any questions, comments, thoughts. Okay, seems like nothing this week. Thank you for attending. Um, these sages, great personalities, are seeing the fulfillment of their tapasya, their austerities, and they're assured that Ramachandra has come to reciprocate with them. So these sages give us confidence that our bhakti will also see its fruition as we follow Rupa Goswami's instructions to stay on the path and not get veered off. And by practicing the 24 things that are aiding bhakti and some things to be cautious about. So 12 things to not do and 12 things to do. And that by which he says Raganuga Bhakti will awaken in one. This is from Nectar of Instruction. Okay, so thank you, and that we are confident, we are hopeful, never hopeless, always hopeful against all odds, depending on whatever difficulty one might be in. Always carry that hope. Always carry the that we always carry the understanding that Ramachandra or Lord Krishna will give us another opportunity, and that he is the unlimitedly merciful Lord. So we have the greatest of hopes against all messages or signs of hopelessness. He is our only hope. Actually, they, Sita Ramachandra or Kishore Kishori, are our only hope. Okay. Thank you, and until we meet next week. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Oh, you're welcome. So there was a question here. Shri Rupa, bring up this question next week. We'll ask and then we'll narrate this. So next week, please remind me just before I start that we're going to respond to Shri Rupa's question. And she says, devotees like to share with the Lord with everyone because they are selfless. What about Vishwavasu? He didn't want to share Lord Neela Madhava. And yes, that although was the greatest devotion, anyway, we'll talk about it next week. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.